Going through a job search can be a difficult and stressful experience. Between deciding on which career path you want to take, filling out applications, sending out resumes, and going on interviews, they can take a toll on you. But once you've finally reached your goal of being offered a position within a company, it isn't the end of the story. In fact, it's a whole new beginning.
You want to succeed on the job and do your very best. But what is your new employer going to ask of you? What will their expectations of you be? How do you not only hold on to the job, but how do you excel in it? Because the last thing you want to do is fail in the job and start the whole process of looking for a job all over again.
This is the final program in the series. In it, we'll give you tips and strategies of how you can be an effective team player and a valued employee, an employee which an employer cannot be without.
Welcome to the ultimate job search for the 21st century.
Hello, I'm Brett Anderson.
And I'm Tia Marlier. In this series, we've taken you through the challenging task of putting together an effective job search.
And we've also gone into detail on the skills it takes to get the position. We're now going to take a look at the elements of the position itself, and what you need to do to prepare yourself for going to work.
We'll also discuss what you can expect in your new position and how you can make a valuable contribution to the company you'll be working for, all with the goal of giving you the best advantage of being successful in your career. You will be hired because you know what it takes to do the job. But starting the job and knowing the basic fundamentals of the position itself is just a small piece of the puzzle. You need to be ready to excel on the job, but you also need to be prepared for what's expected of you. Once you're offered the position, make sure you have everything taken care of before you walk in the first day on the job.
Wow, my first day on the job was pretty much a nightmare. I was running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I mean, I had to cancel all my pre-made appointments, do enough laundry so I had enough clothes to wear for the next couple of days. I had to make my lunch. And then of all things, the alarm clock doesn't go off. Traffic was just awful and I could not find a parking spot. So I was really late. It was not a good way to start your first day.
You probably have a pretty set routine for yourself, even prior to accepting the position. You're going to need to change your whole plan of action and start a new one for yourself. You need to be ready not only for the first day of work, but probably for the first month as well. Before you start your job, go through your calendar and look at the previous commitments you'll need to attend to. See if there are any errands you'll have to run. You may have a doctor's appointment you'll need to reschedule or let the employer know about when the job offer's made. There may be some different arrangements you need to make, like daycare and probably an emergency backup plan if your primary daycare person isn't available on some days. And if you have to work late, have you thought about who's going to pick up the kids? You're probably going to need transportation, getting to and from work with a reliable car and paying for parking, or it might be easier just to take public transportation. There's probably a lot more. But don't make the mistake and wait until the last minute for all the things you should have taken care of beforehand.
Be prepared so you don't have any distractions or added stress while you're trying to fit in the first day. The workbook provides you a detailed checklist of several items you may need to consider once you're employed, along with a daily work schedule. Your situation may be different, so add your own items of what you need to take care of.
One of the first and strongest impressions you will make will be the way you dress for work. How you look and what you wear can tell your coworkers and supervisors how you feel about yourself and how you feel about the position. A professional wardrobe can create a positive image that may impact how far you can advance in a company.
The office is not the place to make a personal fashion statement. You're representing the company, and what you wear will leave a lasting impression on the people you meet.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey, Joel, what's up?
We have a surprise visit by the development team from Jet Enterprises. And they're in the office right now, and they would like a presentation on our new project.
Oh, my goodness, look at me. I look like I'm going to the club. It's Casual Friday. Well, let me go out to my car. I'm sure I have something better out there. Maybe some slacks that'll look a little more professional than this. So can you stall them for like 10, 15 minutes?
You bet.
Okay, I'll be right back. So tell them I'll be right there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
A lot of companies are using the business casual attire as their dress code, but some employees either don't understand what this means or just don't know what's appropriate, and they can push it a little too far. How you dress is serious business, and it can send a strong message to management. regardless of how your coworkers are dressed, shoot for the higher standard of business attire and wear outfits that represent the caliber of employee that you are. Never give the employer the impression that they may have hired the wrong person.
There are some people here on staff that take advantage of the dress code. And you're darn right, I notice. I expect my staff to take their jobs seriously and respect this company. The way people dress and act on the job really does affect the way they are treated, and even how they get promotions.
No matter what your occupation, you will always be expected to come to work dressed appropriately. It will vary from job to job, and you should take special notice of how people are dressed while on your interview. Use good judgment and err on the side of professionalism. All businesses have their own dress code and may have a policy or code book. Familiarize yourself with those policies as soon as you can and follow the company dress code carefully. Think about what you're telling the employer by what you wear. If your budget is limited, purchase clothes that are coordinated in style and color so you can create more than one outfit, and check the discount and resale stores as options.
Along with what you wear on the job, find out if there's anything special you need to bring with you, such as your own tools or supplies if the job calls for it. Also, take a pad and pen to take notes with. Don't assume they'll provide these items. And more than likely, your first day will require filling out a lot of paperwork, so you'll need to bring things like your Social Security card and driver's license or ID. The image you project is the one thing you have control over. Create a neat, positive appearance, which conveys professionalism, credibility, and success. The workbook has a checklist of the types of things you may need to take with you on the job, as well as the appropriate wardrobe for various industries and occupations.
Employers don't always hire the person who has the best skills and closest qualifications for the position. A lot of times, they're looking for a person who has a positive attitude and someone who will be a good fit in their team. A strong part of being successful on the job is being an employee who works hard and who challenges themselves to learn as much as they can. There are several factors where you can make an impact and be a success.
You may have years of experience in doing the type of job you were hired to do, but you should understand this is a new company with its own policies and its own procedures. Look, the employer doesn't really expect you to come in the first day and know everything there is to know about a new job, but they do want to see a person who's motivated and excited to be there. Your first few days are best served by learning about the position, observing, listening closely, and asking questions. It's very important for a new employee to fit into corporate culture, the way the employees within the company interact among one another. So stand back and watch what your new coworkers do, how they interact with each other and with their supervisors. Go with the flow and do your best to fit in with the team right off the bat. Once you get a good idea of how things operate around there, then you can get into more specifics about the duties of your position.
It's always tough the first few days to meet new people here. We obviously have a few cliques and some strong personalities, and some people may treat new employees rather cautiously at first. But to hold yourself up in your office or in the corner is not a good way to start the job. Look, no one expects you to come in here and save the company on the first day, but we do expect you to ask how things are done and start pitching in. Be a part of the team.
You mentioned that when you do type the order on the database, that the guys back here fill the order and bring it up front. So when I do type the order online, do I need to forward that to anyone else, or does the system already do that?
That's a good question. You need to forward it through the sales coordination and your sales manager, just so it gets done more efficiently.
Employers are willing to train a person who may not have all the skills and experience it takes to do the job. What they can't do is teach someone to work hard, do a good job, and work well with the team. That's up to you. From the moment you arrive at work until the time you leave, be positive, be proactive, and be friendly and respectful to everyone on your team, as well as with your customers.
Many organizations need to do more with less, and employers are asking their employees to take on more than one task, which means employees who become more multi-skilled and multi-talented are viewed as being much more valuable than those who are not. To be successful in your company, go above and beyond the duties of the job by taking on additional responsibilities and assignments. If supervisors and coworkers are coming to you because you demonstrate to your team you can perform a wide range of job functions, and you're not afraid of a challenge, then the more they will come to you for help, and the more valuable you will become to that team. Know what's expected of you, and give more.
I don't have the time to constantly supervise my people and answer all of the questions. Once someone has been on the job for a while, I expect them to solve their own problems and figure it out for themselves. If they see something that can be improved upon or done better, then I want them to take the initiative and come up with answers and solutions on their own. I don't need people who wait for me to ask them for help. If I have to stop what I'm doing and explain how to do the job every time they ask a question, it's almost faster to do it myself.
Look at your coworkers and which ones succeed. What are they doing to get ahead? And if the evaluation period comes around, ask your supervisor what you can do to improve. Sometimes you may not like what you'll hear, but they're telling you for a reason. Take their feedback and use it to your benefit.
Your supervisors and coworkers are depending on you to do your job. You're part of an important team, so you'll need to pitch in and ask if there's anything more that you can do. Seek out work and learn new challenges and responsibilities.
And reinforce to the employer that they hired the right person. How you handle your responsibilities and your positive attitude will play a big role in your success.
Hi, boss.
Hey.
Hey, I've got an old Army buddy of mine coming into town at the last minute. I'm gonna need to take tomorrow off, but I did check with Tim and asked if he could cover for me and come in early for my shift. And if it's okay with you, I'll be in on Saturday for a few hours to finish my project.
As long as Tim's got your shift covered, we should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vacations, sick days, and emergencies like jury duty and funeral and military leave will come up, but don't abuse these benefits. Give your supervisor as much notice of the time you'll need off as you can so they can adjust accordingly. Understand the importance of deadlines and the responsibilities of the job by planning around busy times or critical projects. And try to offer a solution and make other arrangements of when you can make the time up, or who can cover for you during those times if necessary.
I used to work with this guy who would call in sick several times a month. That really affected us here. Things piled up and customers complained. It affected our stress levels too. It all comes down to the fact that someone has to do the job. I work hard, but that didn't make up for someone who didn't pull his own weight. Scheduled time off is one thing, but taking time off work just because made things difficult for everyone.
I'm in the Army National Guard, and I know every month and every summer when I have to be off work for military training. I make sure to let my supervisor know way in advance so she can plan for my absence. As long as I let her know ahead of time, there are no problems and no conflicts. My duties are covered, and when I return, I can jump right back into my responsibilities.
You'll need to know what the office procedure is for taking time off, who to call, and if there's paperwork to fill out. Make sure you have emergency contact numbers for after work hours. Some emergencies are unavoidable, but you've got to prepare your supervisors and coworkers so they know how long you'll need to take off in case they need to find a replacement for you. It's important to keep an open line of communication going between you and your supervisor at all times.
Some employees make the mistake of setting the trend of persistently taking Monday or Friday off, taking extended lunch breaks, coming in late, or leaving early. Taking unapproved time off is like stealing, and employers frown heavily on this. Dishonesty is one of the leading reasons why people get fired. You're an important and integral part of a team, and you're being paid to do a job. You need to be an employee that can be relied upon and one who can be trusted. So be on time, or better yet, arrive early. Be willing to stay late if necessary, and set a good example. Always approach your job with the idea, if this was your company, how would you like people to work?
In most working environments, you'll be working with coworkers as a team. It's important to know how your team functions within the organization and how you function and get along with them. It'll take time to know how you'll fit in. If you do your job well and not criticize others or take all the credit for doing the job, the more your coworkers will trust you and respect who you are, not only as their peer, but as an individual.
Holy cow, Debbie, I can't believe you went upstairs and you ratted me out about that phone call that I made to the client. You know the reason why I did it. Why didn't you come to me in the first place and we could have discussed it? You've heard about paybacks, right?
Work would be a lot easier if we could pick the people we'd like to work with. But unfortunately, that usually doesn't happen. Most people have certain coworkers we'd rather stay as far away from as possible. But you have to work with the same person all over again tomorrow. If you want to be effective at work, you have to get along with others.
If a problem or conflict comes up between you and a coworker, don't go running off to the boss to resolve it. That'll get you nowhere. You'll be seen as someone they can't trust. And once the supervisor gets involved, that's only going to escalate the situation. So first, try to work it out yourself. You might try talking it out with an objective party outside of work, such as a friend or a counselor. They might have a better understanding of it from an outside point of view, and it'll give you a chance to blow off some steam. If you do have a legitimate complaint, then you can go back and talk about it with your supervisors. But first, step back, take a breath, and think about what you're going to say to them. Handle it in a professional and positive manner. When you approach the supervisor, make sure you have a solution. Offer ideas on a better way to do it. Most people will respect that approach rather than just complaining about it or going behind their back.
Hey Steve, do you have a second?
Sure, come on in.
I wanted to let you know about the marketing project. It's going really great. We're almost finished. As soon as we get the photos back from the lab, we'll be able to move ahead.
What's going on with that? You guys having problems with something?
Well, we're starting to fall a little bit behind. If we could just get the photos a little bit sooner from the lab, we could stay ahead of the work.
Is there anything I can do about that?
Well, you know, that might help. What we're trying to do is set a schedule. And if they can just
If you do have a problem at work and don't bring it up to someone in authority, then there's nothing that could be done about it. But you need to handle these types of situations with respect and without confrontation.
For many businesses, there may be times when they'll host a social event, or coworkers will ask you to join them for an evening out. This is a good opportunity to bond with your team, but also one that could pose a problem.
In social settings, know that you're being watched. If things get a little out of hand, it could absolutely destroy your reputation as a good worker. So handle yourself professionally with coworkers and supervisors, both inside and outside of the work setting. Social functions and parties outside of the office can seem like a good time to relax and be one of the team. And they are, but acting rudely or inappropriately, especially when alcohol is involved, could spell trouble. Instead, use this time as an opportunity to network and socialize in a responsible manner.
You don't want to create a bad experience at social functions, but you don't want to pass up opportunities like these either. It may look like you're not part of the team or think you're better than the team. How well you get along with coworkers and management on every level will have a big impact on your success in the job.
Your supervisor has a major impact on your career. They determine who gets raises, who gets promoted, and who gets fired. It's important to get along with your supervisor. And unfortunately, you may come across a boss who's impossible to get along with.
Anderson, our budget is off over 40%. Did you get the numbers I sent you?
I did, Mr. Peterson. I tallied them the way you showed me.
Not using my system. You plugged in a different percentage and went the wrong way.
I don't think so, Mr. Peterson, but let me look into it.
Anderson, if we are this far over budget, we are going to be in big trouble.
I'm sorry.
Your supervisor expects you to do your assignments correctly, efficiently, and without a lot of supervision. Sometimes problems arise, even when you think you're doing your best. So if you don't understand what you're being asked to do on a particular assignment, go to a supervisor or coworker and ask for clarification. And it's okay to report back occasionally on the progress and see if you're doing the right thing. Listen to their feedback and realize that with every job, mistakes will happen. The best you can do is simply apologize and accept responsibility. Don't waste your time making excuses or getting defensive. Learn from your mistakes and then explore solutions.
You're right, Mr. Peterson. It looks like I did put in the wrong figures. I'll make the corrections immediately and redistribute the report.
Anderson, you gotta be more careful around here.
You're absolutely right. I know what I did wrong, and I'll make sure it never happens again.
Yeah, please do.
It's always better to handle conflict between you and your supervisor directly. You'll find that the majority of your supervisors want you to succeed in the job, so do your best. learn to prioritize assignments, and show them you're not afraid of taking on new challenges or responsibilities. The workbook has points of how to have a good working relationship with your supervisor.
Along with working together effectively with your coworkers and your supervisor, you also might be in direct contact with the customer. The customer is probably the #1 reason your company is in business. Consumers are influenced by 3 factors: price, the quality of the product, and customer service. And the way you treat the customer is one of the things that you can control as an employee, and one which is directly related to the organization's success.
I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a particular store or restaurant where they went above and beyond the type of service I was expecting to receive. I don't care if it costs me a little bit more, I'll go back. But I can count the number of establishments that I will never return to because of the terrible service I received. That isn't unusual, though. Everybody has those stories. But as an employee, you have a significant impact on people either coming back time and time again or on those who may never return.
I expect my employees to treat our customers politely, with courtesy and respect each and every time. And I don't care what kind of a day you're having. Our customers aren't interrupting you. It's your job. And ultimately, they're the ones who are paying your salary. It doesn't matter if it's meeting the customer face-to-face or on the phone, even if they're dealing with them by email. If they have one bad experience, you may have not just turned away one customer. You've probably lost their spouse, their family, their friends, their neighbors, and your job.
Treat the customer the way you like to be treated: professionally, courteously, friendly. However, there may be instances when you will come across a customer who isn't that easy to work with.
Ma'am, it looks like we don't have that part.
This is unbelievable. Do you know how many times I've already been down here? I've been down here 4 times. What is wrong with you people?
Let me look it up and see what the problem is. Can I get you something to drink in the meantime?
No, fine.
Difficult customers are the worst because you feel you don't need to be treated this way. Your first reaction is retaliation. But the best thing to do is to listen to their concerns. Then find out what it is that will satisfy their needs. Tell them exactly what you will do about the situation and then follow through.
Unfortunately, ma'am, it looks like we don't carry that product anymore. I talked to my supervisor and apparently the distributor doesn't carry it.
Well, that's just great. Now what am I supposed to do? I've already been down here 4 or 5 times. Why couldn't you have told me that before?
I know we have a similar product that we could order. It should only take a day to get here if you're interested.
And you mean I'd have to come all the way down here again? I don't think so. What do you think I am? Do you think I got all this time to just do whatever? You know, I got a sick child at home.
There may be times when you can't help the person, but if you treat the situation with honest concern and with respect, they might calm down and let you help them. If you need to involve a supervisor, then that's fine. They're probably used to handling these problems. Then, if you can, follow up. Call the customer and ask if the situation was resolved to their satisfaction. Your customer is expecting the very best service they can get. We've provided various techniques for providing effective customer service in the workbook, along with ways to handle the most difficult of clients.
Team members want a person who will pitch in and be an effective part of their team, and your manager is counting on you to do the job. Treat each of them with respect, professionalism, and be someone they can trust. Whatever your career, you should strive to be an honest employee with a good work ethic.
Your company is also expecting an employee who they can trust. Stealing or abusing perks at the office can get you fired. Companies lose millions of dollars each year because of employee theft and dishonesty. Stealing doesn't necessarily mean money. It can be things like frequent personal calls on company time, or making unauthorized long-distance phone calls, even taking things like software or office supplies from the company. No matter how small it may seem, stealing is stealing, and your company can charge you with a crime.
Also, employers provide their staff with equipment and technology to advance their business, and using the internet or email for inappropriate activities can be grounds for termination. Be aware that businesses can easily monitor your activity and tend to do spot checks on whatever you're working on and what you're sending out. And never do any illegal or inappropriate activities at work. If it's questionable, don't do it. It can cost you your job.
At work, you have responsibilities that may take over your outside time. You'll need balance between your work and home responsibilities. So when you get home from the job, spend quality time with your family and continue doing the things you enjoy, like exercising or going for long walks, eating dinners together, or just getting out. Remember, your family is a big part of your success as well.
We've shown just a few examples of situations you may face at work. And as you've seen, it's not simply having a job which will determine how far you'll go in your career. It'll be up to you. So develop new talents, take on challenging assignments, and learn new skills. Stay competitive in today's job market by getting additional training, attending workshops, and never stop learning.
Use every experience you get to your advantage. Know what needs to be done, and then do more. Do your very best to the highest of your ability and continue to improve at work each and every day.
And if it does turn out it wasn't the position you had hoped for, learn from the experience and be ready to dust off your resume and try again.
Remember, never leave a position on bad terms. You never know when you are going to need someone as a reference or how long it will take to find another job. So try to stick with the job until you have another one lined up. It's always best to have a job when looking for one. Now let's review what it takes to be successful on the job.
First, get all of your appointments and priorities taken care of before you go in on the first day.
Make a professional impression by dressing appropriately for the industry and company you'll be working for.
Be on time every day and don't abuse breaks or benefits.
Do your very best to fit in as an important part of the team and company. Pitch in and go out of your way to be a valued team member.
Do everything your supervisor asks of you and then do more.
When you deal with customers, treat each of them with respect and be friendly.
And finally, always do the right thing at work. Use the workbook throughout your career for additional ideas and ways to succeed and excel in the job.
No matter what your career, whether it's driving a truck or leading a company, be the best you can at whatever you do.
Be dependable and reliable and ask others if you can help. Be an employee that others can count on and someone they enjoy working with.
Realize that some days may be tougher to get through than others, and that you'll be working with a diverse group of individuals with different values, beliefs, and backgrounds. But all will have the same goal in common of making the company and themselves succeed.
If you work hard in your job, have a great attitude, and you believe in the company and in the product, you'll prove to be an outstanding employee and a valuable team player. A team player the company cannot do without.
We wish you the very best luck in your career. Do a great job.